Welcome to Healing Out Loud. I'm your host, Amanda Ibsen, and today I'm joined by the lovely Marie. Marie is here to share her personal story of grief and healing. And as always, this space is for real people, real stories, and real emotion. So please do take care of yourself as you listen. If anything feels heavy, you are allowed to pause, you are allowed to breathe and come back when you're ready and come back to listen. 'Cause, I do know that a lot of people will relate in some way. Okay, so let's begin, shall we? So, Marie, it's lovely to have you on here, and thank you for being a guest on Healing Out Loud podcast. It's an honour to have you here. And I'd love you to start by just telling us about your loved one, what they were like and what you remember most fondly about them.
Okay, so I'm really smiling broadly now because it was my mum, and
Oh,
yeah, and she was, she had a tough life. I'm getting emotional already, which is,
that's okay.
yeah,
It's
no,
okay.
bless. But yeah, I mean, I just smile when I think about my mum, Amanda, because she did have a tough life. So she had 7 children. There were 7 of us in total. So
Oh, lovely.
she had 3 children, and then her husband passed away when she was young. I would say she must have been in her 30s. And then
Yeah.
she met my dad, and then she had 4 more children, and I was the first one of those 4 more children. And
Wow.
she worked hard to make sure that we were provided for. And I used to think my mum was a real tough cookie, but then now, obviously I'm older. I've got my own son, I've got a stepson, and I think, well, she had to be. She had to
Yeah.
be. And so we didn't maybe have the easiest of relationships.
Mm.
But I left home when I was 18, 19. So I was brought
Mm.
up in Scotland, and as soon as I could get out, and it wasn't to do with my mum really. I just wanted to get out of Port Glasgow, truth be told.
Yeah.
So I jumped on a bus and went to Brighton. And actually, I do remember, because I say my mum didn't display emotion, and there wasn't physical acts of affection. But when I was leaving that day to get on the bus, and my mum said to me, "Remember, you will always have a home here." And
Oh,
quite blown
lovely.
away, because that, for my mum,
Yeah.
that was a big thing.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so she raised 7 of us, and yeah, she said it how it was, Amanda.
Yeah, I like that. Well, you do as well. Me and Marie do actually know each other. I love that I've actually got her on to be my first guest because I just love you. I do love you so much, and you just very straight talking and you say how it is. So I can just imagine like how your mum was as well.
Yeah,
I think you've probably got a lot of your mum in you, so that's lovely.
yeah. And now I take that as a compliment. If someone had said that a few years ago, I'd be like, no, I'm not like my mum, because that's what we do, isn't it? And when my son was born, I had Connor in 93, and
Yeah.
Connor, um, I guess a lot of us do it, but I thought, I'm going to raise my son differently, and there'll be loads of love. And so I didn't ever think I was like my mum, and now I'm like, yeah. And I've been doing, I've done a lot of healing around my relationship with my mum, and now I'm proud to say that, yes, I've got my mum in me as well. Bless her.
I love that. I do love that. And is there a moment or a memory that always makes you smile when you think of them? I know you just kind of shared that, haven't you? Is there anything else that pops up for you?
Yes. So it's something that I've carried a lot with me, with being 7 of us. And because I was like smack in the middle, there's 3 older, 3 younger. And I do always remember my mum saying to my dad, like, oh, I think we've got a lady with this one, Andy. If I wanted to do things a bit differently, or, oh, she got ideas above her station, this one, Andy. So I kind of grew up thinking, I don't actually, Mum. I don't think I'm a lady. I don't have ideas above my station. I'm I'm just me. But yeah, that's what my mum obviously saw something in me. And I shared this with another friend recently. And I used to take that as a little bit of a derogatory thing. I felt that she was putting me down. And my friend said, so your mum saw something different in you. That's good, isn't it? That's,
Yeah, it's a huge positive. And isn't it crazy how outsiders can see that compared to what we'd see?
yeah. And it's
Yeah.
not necessarily good or bad, but she made me look at it differently and think, yeah, she did see something different in me. And that's, yeah, I'll take that.
Yeah, I love that. Oh God, 7 kids. So she was so busy then.
I didn't hear that one. Sorry, Amanda.
Sorry, your mum having 7 children. I bet she was so busy with you all.
Exactly. And she didn't maybe have that much spare time because she worked as well. She held in a full-time, no, maybe not a full-time job, but she held in a separate job outside the home, and she did all the housework stuff. Excuse me. And I was a tomboy. I wasn't much help to her. My older sister helped my mum, and I was out climbing trees and lighting fires. So I wasn't much used to her. So no wonder she was a bit like
a little bit of a rebel then.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love that. So what kind of relationship did you have with your mum then?
Well, because I left so young, to be fair, Amanda, not a close relationship because, as I say, so my direct sister above me was my mum's youngest child from her first husband. And they had a lot more in common. You know, they used to do knitting, cooking, they would diet together. So they would have special food. And, you know, I literally, hand on heart, and I said to you before we came on, I will always be honest. And I don't ever remember feeling any jealousy towards my older sister, Kath.
Oh, I love that.
I was pleased. But I was so busy out doing my own thing. And then when I left early, and then when my mum did pass away, and my younger sister then said to me, the thing is, Marie, you didn't have an adult relationship with our mum. You left when you were still pretty much a child yourself. So I always used to say I wasn't close to my mum, and I can understand that now. I didn't have a close relationship with her. Not really, if I'm being honest.
Yeah. And are you open to sharing about your mum's passing?
Yeah.
Yeah, and what that time were like for you really. But yeah, if you're open to sharing, that'd be lovely.
Yeah. So I was living in Brighton, and I came away with my boyfriend at the time, and then we got engaged, and I was brought up in a Catholic household, Amanda. So my mum and dad, it was very important to them, their religion. And my mum used to write letters back in the day. And I would get a letter from my mum, and honestly, it was always full of bad news. Oh, well, you know this one, and you know that. Well, Mrs. Higgins died, and this one died, and that one died, and I'd be like, and so I remember my mum writing to me and saying, oh, I've been to the doctor. They've said everything's fine, nothing to worry about. So this was 91, 92.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay. And, you know, I was 25, 26, didn't think much of it. And then this went on for about a year. The reason I know that is because I could look back on the letters.
Yeah.
So then eventually my mum was told that she had bowel cancer. I found out, and I was 5 months pregnant with my son.
Wow.
And my mum had been like saying, when are these grandchildren coming? Because that's another story. But anyway, I was pregnant with Connor, and 5 months pregnant, and she was told that. So I went up to visit, and I was on the bus from Brighton to Scotland, 5 months pregnant. And it's mad, Amanda, and I'll share this because there was a guy I was talking to beside me. And I'm going to see my mum in Port Glasgow, who's told me she's got bowel cancer, and I'm pregnant. And I'm thinking, I was thinking, I hope that guy doesn't think I'm just fat, you know.
Oh, God.
Shallow I was. Anyway, so my mum then said to me that she was told by the consultants and stuff that she probably wouldn't see my son born. She said, that's what she's been told. And I, you know, ever since then, that struck deep with me. when people are told that they're terminally ill, they've got cancer, they've got whatever the diagnosis might be, I was angry about my mum being told that. And
Yeah.
I don't know, they shouldn't play God. How do they possibly know? And I know things have moved on since then. I don't know if they still do that or not, but I remember thinking, I didn't find it helpful one little bit, but my mum being my mum was like, well, I'll bloody show them. And she was really stubborn. So she saw Connor born, she came down for his christening. And
Wow.
because it was important to my mum, I had a lovely little Catholic in a lovely little church, a Catholic christening. And it was
lovely.
more to keep my mum happy and my dad.
Yeah.
And then she passed away on Connor's first birthday.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That must have been very emotional for you.
Well, we'd taken Connor to Eastbourne for the day, and then we got home, and next door neighbour came in because it's back in the day of landlines, and John and I didn't have a phone in the house, and the neighbour came in, so I was actually told the news by a neighbour.
Oh,
which I don't remember.
Sad.
I know, but I just remember, the shock and the numbness, and then the travelling up to Scotland for my mum's funeral with Connor in tow.
Yeah.
So and people say, oh, that's a sad thing. For me, I mean, it's 30 years now, Amanda, maybe 29, 30 years. But I always think, I think of my mum's passing on a happy day, because Connor turned 1. We celebrate Connor's birthday, then mum is there on a celebratory day.
Right, I love that. I really love that, because I think a lot of people can see. I mean, my stepbrother, on his passing, one of my nephews was born on his birthday. On his passing. So when he passed, my nephew was born after his passing, but on the same day. So it is nice, isn't it, that you've got kind of that balance where, yes, it's a sad day, it brings not nice memories up, but then you've got that celebration of somebody's life who's here. But then honouring them at the same time, which I think is lovely. And it's almost like, I think, this is how I think now. I didn't really used to think like this, but I see it as a bit of a gift. It kind of takes sadness out of the day, doesn't it?
Yes, and it is a little bit like the circle of life in a way. We can talk about people passing, and it is a factor of life, life and death. And I just still, it makes me laugh again, because I just think that's typical of my mum. Not only was she going to live to see Connor being born, she was going to blooming well last another year just to prove somebody wrong.
Yeah. Oh, love
it
that.
is not having the last word in a way. So we always smile on Connor's birthday and honour my mum on that day as well.
Oh, I love that. Absolutely love that. And so, in those early days, Marie, what were like the emotions that came up for you? I know you mentioned anger, didn't you, at one point? And shock.
Yeah, I couldn't quite take it in. It was all a bit surreal because I wasn't there as well. I think the distance, in some ways, it kept me protected, and in other ways, it stopped me from grieving because it didn't seem real. And when I was up with all the siblings, and everyone deals with it differently, as you know, but I do remember journaling even back in those days, saying, and I wrote a journal saying, my mum's dying and everyone's just acting normally. It just felt like...
it is funny, because I think with people, when they've got that illness, it's almost like it's preparing you. So you're almost grieving then, aren't you?
Yes.
That grief. And we all grieve so differently. And especially when there's an illness, everybody deals so differently, don't they? It's crazy.
Very much so. In our family, the 7 of us, were all so different.
Yeah.
And I've got 2 brothers and then the 5 girls. And even within the females were all so different, Amanda. And there wasn't much communication.
No.
Not really. I don't remember anyone talking much about it, but I do remember this. And my dad was heartbroken, bless him.
Oh, I'm sorry. It is. It's just so sad, isn't it? When you think of like the partners of the love that they've got for them and seeing them struggle. It's not
Yes.
nice because obviously you're grieving, but then you just want to look after your dad
Yeah.
at the same time.
And we didn't
That's,
talk. We still didn't talk. I remember on the day of the funeral, it was just, whew, I literally didn't know what to say to him. And I just went over and I just hugged him.
oh,
And
I love that.
he used to call me his, didn't really help relations with my sisters, but he used to say, oh, here's my beautiful daughter.
Oh,
Because
I love that.
I was his first, you see. So I was my dad's
Yeah,
born.
yeah, baby
And
girl.
yeah, and he used to say that.
My dad
I
used to call
remember,
me his baby girl.
yeah, and I used to say, Dad, don't say that. But I
And
just
I
went,
think sometimes as well, we wish, I mean, I know I'd wish I'd said things and done things a bit differently, um, back then. But I think when you think about those actions that we took, like those cuddles, mean the world to somebody, don't they?
yeah,
And it kind of brings me on to like kind of the little next question of, was there anything that you wish people had done differently to support you or even you supporting others?
yes, I do. When we spoke before we came on,
Mm,
and I said I just always want to be honest and open, and that's my promise to myself. But
mm.
I wish, and it's only coming to me now. I wish we spoke more.
Yeah,
I do.
communication. Yeah, because
Yeah.
I do agree with that. I think when it comes to grief, we're so silent with it. We're so scared of either
Yes.
upsetting somebody or saying something wrong that we just don't say anything at all, do we? And as
100%.
far as families go, like, I've had that experience where
Yeah.
nobody speaks and you say something and you either end up falling out or yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things I do differently, definitely. So I get where you're coming from with that one.
Yeah. And then coming back from Scotland back to Brighton, and that in itself was like two different worlds. And I remember some of my friends, and I had a really close friend at the time, and Jez and I were just friends at the time. And I remember Jez, might have been, anyway, I could be getting mixed up. But then my dad passed like very soon after my mum,
Right.
and I still
Oh,
believe that he had a broken heart, bless him. But
so
I remember,
close.
yeah, I do. One friend just couldn't bring themselves to come into my house. Jez came into the house, and bless him, Jez didn't know what to say, but he just appeared and he was there as a friend. And I said, where's Alistair? And he was like, oh, he's out in the car, he doesn't know what to say. And I just thought, well, fair play. But then there was another girl, and I wasn't particularly close to her, a work colleague, and she came in and said to me when she first saw me, she went, I've got no idea what to say to you, but I do not want to ignore it. Can I just give you a hug?
And how lovely is that though that she was really quite honest? Because I think a lot of people just don't know what to say,
No,
do they?
exactly.
It's when I think it's like people are just so apologetic. I'm sorry, but actually, I mean, nowadays everything's just social media.
I
I
know.
don't think I don't think about I think I might have seen a handful of people when I've lost my loved ones, but now everything's online. Like I don't think people buy cards much anymore. I'm
No.
quite old fashioned me. I like to give somebody a card and
Yeah.
things like that. So what did you find didn't help you at all, even if people meant well at the time?
I mean, I could understand people not wanting to speak because they were scared to upset me. That didn't.
Yeah, well, that's I was just thinking that 'cause you kind of covered it, haven't you, really? Because they just don't know what to say.
The
And
other
I've been there
thing,
myself.
I think the other thing, Amanda, was the my mum spent some time in a hospice, and I remember going to get my mum, and it was a bit mad for me because she actually said to me, "Oh, kind of like almost like she didn't recognize me. Who are you, or do you?" And I said, "Oh," and me being me, I didn't want to go, well, I'm your daughter. I was like, I didn't want to embarrass her,
Didn't want,
not
yeah,
knowing.
didn't want to confuse her, yeah.
Yeah, so I was just kind of like completely and utterly bewildered, but I didn't know what to say. And I was like, maybe it's the medication, whatever, maybe she's just been asleep. And then I mentioned my sister Kath, and she went, oh, you know Kath, bless her, and she picked up. And I was like, yeah, mum, yeah, Kath, my sister. And when I spoke to the Macmillan or the hospice nurse, she didn't take the time to, I was confused and I wanted to know why my mum didn't recognise me, but she didn't take the time. And I remember coming away thinking, what's going on here? So maybe if the medical person had said, it's just the drugs, or it could be what it was, then I would have understood. I think I was just the confusion.
It's something, like you say, though, it's something that like stayed with you, hasn't it?
Yes, because I had no idea why my mum, and if that nurse on that day, and I'm not blaming her, there's no one to blame, but if she'd said, do you know, Marie, it's the medication, then I probably wouldn't have registered it in my brain. My mum didn't recognise me, but because I didn't understand what was happening, my brain stored that.
Yeah. Oh, bless you. And so, what has grief looked like? Like, so for over time, so obviously we've spoke like about the before, the kind of the beginning of the grief. And so what has grief looked like for you over time? You know, has it changed shape? Was there a certain amount of months, years, you know, as far as your story goes? Everybody's different out there. And before I move any further, there is no timeline with grief. I think we definitely know that. But yeah, what has grief looked like for you over time?
I think, you know, and you mentioned time, and with time, I think there's safety things kick in, isn't there? And you do maybe not fully remember. You never forget, but you don't maybe fully remember how much it hurt. But I do remember the early days of Jez and I getting together. The guy was pretty bloody brave to take me on, because I used to cry a lot. You know, and I would find a little pair of earrings, like I'd bought my mum, could feel it coming. I bought my mum a little pair of like rose stud earrings. And she was forever bloody losing them. And then one day I remember, like, I was like, Mum, you've lost those earrings again. And I remember being literally upside down in a bin going, they're down there. And my mum maybe didn't like them. And she was being like, I got rid of those goddamn earrings. But I kept finding them for her. Going, Mum, there's your earrings. Anyway, my older sister sorted out the house and all the belongings and who was going to have what. And I didn't get involved with that. I mean, there was squabbles over a telly, which
I'm going to say I think that's probably another podcast.
Yeah.
As far as the houses go with families, it can be, but I'm sure there might be lovely stories. Ours were all right, I guess.
Yeah, keeping it real though, you know, it happens. But yeah, so I found these earrings one night and I was like, oh, Mom. And I just literally cried and cried and cried. And I think that might have been a time where, like, if you can, I don't know, Amanda, I'm just going to say it how it is, but if you can cry yourself out, it was very cathartic. And yeah,
and I'm just looking at you now, Marie. It's obviously it's still, even after all this time, it's still quite painful, isn't it?
Yeah, because
it's not painful. I think it's just that there's always just one of those memories or those emotions that just when you speak about it comes back, doesn't it?
Yeah, you tap back into it, and as you and I both know, remembering things, your brain doesn't always know the difference between just remembering or if you're in it. But you know, I don't know. I'm trying to think, being very, very honest. There's not such an emotional charge that the heart does, you know, and that for me anyway. I can only ever speak for myself. For me, it has eased. The pain has eased, but I think
that for you.
Thank you. I think the thing that I struggled with more was watching my dad being in pain, because my dad and
afterwards,
both, bless his heart, and that was hard, really hard.
Yeah, seeing them in pain, it can't have been nice at all. Oh, bless. Okay, so have you found any kind of little small things that have brought you comfort or grounding over that time? Is there anything, um, or any rituals or ways that you like to honour your mum now?
Well, now that I've got Connor, and this is a bit of a revelation. I've not told you this yet because I've not spoken about it, but we just found out not even 2 weeks ago that my son's going to be a dad.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
that's amazing.
So all of a sudden, he is more interested. What was your mum like, mum? And he's never really been
Oh,
before. So we honour my mum by talking about it a lot more now.
love
Um,
that.
yeah, and I have got a picture of my mum and my dad downstairs, and so they kind of like they're there. We don't talk about them an awful lot. That's fair to say.
Yeah,
But my dad loved his whiskey, and he's got a little whiskey in his hand. And I mean, I don't drink now, but when I did have my glass of wine,
yeah.
and I used to be like, "Cheers, Dad." And so it's funny to say that about my dad, but not my mum, because I think I became, without even intending to, a bit of a daddy's girl, you know.
Yeah,
Isn't
yeah,
it interesting? Cheers, Dad, but I don't say cheers, Mum. But yeah, I think we
yeah.
just, I mean, candles were part of the Catholic faith, and I've got candles everywhere, as you might know. So I light a candle, and yeah, I don't have any particular rituals as such. It's just
Oh,
maybe around Connor's birthday mainly. I don't
yeah.
really get to even the heavenly birthdays. That doesn't really work for me personally.
Oh, mm.
Um, Connor, his birthday, always remember my mum passing. My dad then passed about 18 months later, and that was around my birthday.
Oh my goodness.
So I don't really do that sort of thing, Amanda. No, I don't have rituals
Yeah.
as such. I just every now and again will just, and then when I see little robins, I always think that's my dad.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, looking for signs.
Yes, and
I
my
absolutely love that. Feathers and butterflies for me. Although I will say, over the past few months, I've been seeing dragonflies
yeah,
all the time.
yeah,
I haven't seen one in real life. However, I keep seeing drawings of them. Then a tattoo, and I'm like, what is going on?
yeah.
And then I remembered actually when I looked through my journal, I'd said some. I must have said that I'd asked my dad for like this sign, or I can't remember what about now. I'll have to get my journal out and have a look. But actually, I just asked for a sign, and I'd not been specific. And so this dragonfly presenting itself,
Wow,
I was like, oh, okay
yeah,
then for a sign, it presented itself. And what I will say is, some people aren't spiritual, some people don't believe in these things, and that's fine. But you just go with what works for you, what feels good for you, what helps you feel better. And so signs is a big one.
100%. And there's no rules, there's no rule book. I
Oh,
always say let's chuck the rule book out the window. But whatever works for you. But I think it's a good reminder for anyone, whatever it is that you find comfort in, then
yeah,
just to give
exactly.
yourself a little bit of time, come back to yourself, and just
Yeah.
because we can be busy, busy, busy. But if you just take that time just remind yourself that you can gift
Mm.
yourself that little bit of peace.
Yeah, that's it. And I think whatever space they're coming from, like you say, you had that quite Catholic background with your parents. It doesn't matter what religion anybody is. We just do what fits us, what suits us, don't we? I think as far as like rituals go, or anything that brings comfort and grounding, you do for yourself.
100%.
At the end of the day,
No rules.
absolutely love that. So, what would you say to your mum? If she were here with you right now, what's one thing you'd say to her?
Well, I would say two things. I'd say, well, Mum, I never got a title, but yes, I am a lady. And I would say that she'll be meeting her no, great grandchild.
Great, yeah. Oh, how special is that though?
And can I share one other little thing, Amanda? Actually,
Yeah, you can.
because it's early days for my son and his beautiful fiance, I've been asking my loved ones who have passed,
Yeah.
to send them all the love. And the other day I did pull an angel card, or I pulled a card, and I do that occasionally. It's not something I do very often.
Yeah.
And literally, I pulled out a card and it was Teresa, and that was my mum's name.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh God,
So,
how lovely. And that's just the most beautiful like confirmation for me. Don't you think? When you I've gone goose pimply, like can't escape these hairs on my thumb. I am so hairy, but I just love stuff like that. Like when you ask and you receive and you're
yeah.
just like,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah.
You know,
And I was just like, well, you're going to meet them soon. And it's going to be a
oh,
surprise because they don't want to find out the gender of the baby. So it's going to be a
oh,
surprise.
oh, that'll be so lovely. Are they not having like a gender reveal or anything? Are they just gonna go? Because when I had our Sophia, she's 25 this year, but I didn't know like
No,
what she wanted. It was so lovely. I don't think people really do that much anymore, do they? So that'll be so
no.
nice.
Curiosity, because we do.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I didn't find out either. And that's the Connor and Jess are very traditional.
Yeah.
But you know, that little bit of old fashionedness, which I love. So, but I know now that my mum, I knew anyway, but I was just like, yeah, brilliant.
Oh, I absolutely love that. And what do you think that your mum would say to you? Your mum and your dad, what would they say to you if they were here now?
Right, okay, I'm going to really think about that just for a second. My mum.
I
I think,
think if you just imagine like your mum just being at the side of you and just visualize her in your mind and she just got something to say to you, what would it be? And just take a deep breath and feel it.
I think my mum would say, you did okay. High praise indeed. I did all right.
Oh, bless you.
And my dad would just say, oh, my beautiful daughter, and just give me a big hug.
Yeah, it sounds so much like my dad. My dad used to make these squeaky noises, be like, oh, they're like, oh my God. Even like when I was like, see, my 20s, he'd all of a sudden just put this stupid voice on and make me
Yeah.
laugh. It reminds me a bit like what your dad would probably be like with you, but I absolutely love that. I think that's lovely.
Yeah.
So if someone's listening, Marie, to sharing your story, which by the way has been really quite beautiful to listen to, and if someone's listening and just feeling how you once felt, where you felt actually that shock, that numbness, that heartbreak as well,
Yeah.
what would you want them to know at that moment or those early stages of because they're going through this? What would you want them to know about grief?
I think I would just want people to know that as lonely as it might feel, yeah, I don't want to be patronizing, but I would say
No, no.
you're not alone. You're not alone. No one can ever go through what you're going through because,
Yeah.
never. But equally, don't think that people wouldn't understand because
Yeah.
they would maybe more than you might think.
Yes, I love that. And that's quite a strong validation for me because thinking back, relating to like what you're saying, is I almost felt personally that nobody knew how I felt. No, not a soul in this entire world. When in actual fact, they probably did. For me, it was like no one's ever gone through that pain that I went through. That's how I felt. So
Yeah.
that you're saying that is actually they do know, we just think that they don't. And
Yeah.
so I love that. I
And
absolutely love that.
it's never about negating how someone's feeling or trying to, no one's
Yeah.
pretending that they fully know how you feel because no one fully can. But it's just taking if they can somehow dig deep and take some sort of comfort to know that they're not actually totally alone, because it can be the loneliest place in the world.
Yeah, it can. It really can. I agree with you on that 100%. It can feel that way. And I think that's literally why I wanted to create this space because it's not really spoken about. Like a lot of this we just keep in, don't we? And we don't want to speak about anything just in case we
Mm,
get. I know for me, the eye rolls, again, or they don't know what to say, or
yeah.
making others feel uncomfortable as well. So even like siblings, like, we just don't speak about them. So this space here is exactly what this is for. And
Yes.
so it's just been so lovely to hear you talk about like your mum, your dad, your siblings as well. And it kind of puts a little bit more about like who you are as a person as well, which I love. Because you get to know somebody, don't you?
100%. I think it's lovely what you're doing. Really, it's a
Oh,
much needed space. And
yeah.
I don't know, Amanda, having someone like you doing this is just going to be invaluable to people. I just know it.
Oh, thank you so much. I absolutely love that. Thank you. That means a lot to me, does that? So, what do you think, Marie, that this journey has taught you about yourself, this going through grief? And I know it's been 30 years and you've said, but what do you think has been the big
Mm.
teacher, I guess?
I mean, I think for me, it's like finally kind of seeing my mum as a real person. This whole thing, the mother wound, and as you know, I've been on a journey myself, self-development,
Yeah.
healing. So if I use jargon, I don't really mean to, but it's only because I never had the terminology for it before. But I think when you're whatever age, you might think, oh, your mum's supposed to know best. She's supposed to love you. She's supposed to do this. She's supposed to do that. But they're just people as well. My mum was
Yeah.
a young 30-year-old woman with 3 children, widowed,
Awesome.
and in the Catholic faith, you weren't allowed to have contraception. So straight on and have more children. I don't know if I'm making sense, but I think it just allowed
Yeah, you
me,
do. You are to me
thank
completely. I
you,
get where you're coming from.
the period of time and through the grief healing. And I mean, a lot of it was numb for a long time. I think it's just allowed me to see my mum as a person who was just doing the best that she knew how.
Yeah, I love that. That's lovely, is that? Perfect. Oh, well, thank you so much for sharing, Marie. And
You're
being
more than welcome.
so open and just so you. I love it. So it's been an absolute honour just to witness your love, your grief, but also your healing journey as well, which is just lovely to see. And you're such an amazing person. And, you know, if there's else that you anything else that's on your heart that you would like to say, or even to someone that might be listening,
Mm.
walking like a similar path, you can say now if you like. But other than that, is there anything else you'd like to add before we go on?
I think I would just say to people, like, chuck out the rule book. Don't think that there's, like you've already mentioned, there's no time scales, there's no rules. We're human beings. We're really complex, and nobody's got the right to tell you it should be done this way or that way. Just whatever it is that you need to do it. And if you can find it within yourself to find somebody, it could be, it could come from the most weirdest of places, but there will be someone who's willing to give you an ear and
Yeah,
just hear you. I just send them some hope that they'll be heard, and
yeah.
and like what you're doing, Amanda, they've got well, they've got you now.
Yeah.
um, yeah, which is amazing. Lucky them, and I mean that genuinely.
Oh,
But yeah, somebody somewhere will hear you.
yeah. I love that. Oh, thank you so much. Well, thank you for your time today.
You're very welcome. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Thank you for joining us today and for witnessing this story with so much compassion. If this episode stirred anything within you, it's okay. But do please take a moment just to breathe, just to pause, to ground yourself and honour whatever's come up. Grief does not follow a rule book. If it shows up, that's okay. Yeah, it can come in waves, it can come in whispers, and it sometimes can be the loudest in silence. And you, just as you are doing enough. And if you need extra support, I always recommend reaching out to the places like in the UK, we have Cruise Bereavement Support, Childhood Bereavement UK, or simply speaking to somebody that you trust, or a therapist or a counsellor. You don't have to carry this alone. You can find more free support and conversations and connections inside my Graceful Healing Community over on Facebook. The link is in the notes, in the intro notes, so do check that out. And if you'd like a gentle companion for your own journey, you can download my free guide, 7 Gentle Practices to Navigating Grief Gracefully, which is also linked. Okay. So until next time, take care of your heart and remember, healing isn't about moving on. It's about learning to carry love and loss side by side, and joy will make its way to you. Okay, so let's keep healing out loud together. Lots of love.